Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2017 edition of Showdown in the Hat, the Pickleball Championships, presented by the Medicine Hat Pickelball Club. I am Tom Rook. With me is
Sherry Biko.
And we are here for an exciting match of...
It's going to be the 50-plus mixed doubles. Men and women are going to be in this, and the players that we have are...
Ron Dumbarton with his partner Lucy Coffey. And
we also have Greg and his partner.
Greg Fox, yeah.
And his partner is Pam Craigo.
There we are. So stay tuned. You're going in for an exciting match.
It's a beautiful, hot, sunny day, although maybe a little bit more sunny than we would have liked.
And maybe a little bit more hot than we would have liked.
Yes. And so we're hoping that our contestants aren't going to be too hot at the end of this particular tournament, because we actually started in at 7 o'clock this morning in hopes that we were going to be able to enjoy a bit of the cool temperatures.
Right. You're absolutely right, Sherry. And it is a warm day, and it's probably even going to be warming tomorrow, so... if we can get this game going, then we can get her going. We have all sorts of people helping us out here. We've got a new feature this year, Sherry, in the fact that we've got a visual scoreboard.
Yes.
And Rhonda Monroe is going to be helping us out with that one.
Right.
And over there on cameras, we have Daryl Lockwood, one of our members, and Dwight Berg on the other camera.
2 timeouts, right?
Each per game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're playing best out of 2 or best out of 3.
Best out of 3.
And you win by 2 to playing to 11.
Okay.
So if we have to play the third game, then we switch at 6.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So we just need a number.
And I have a number in behind here that either 1 or 2 that you guys can. You're going to choose. Okay, it's a 1. So you get to choose. You want to serve or the side court?
We'll serve.
You want to serve first? Which court, you guys? That side? Okay, and now.
Okay, let's introduce our first players for the first match. We know that our players, though, Greg Fox, Pam Craigo, against Lucy Coffey and Ron Dumbarton.
Okay. 0-0 start.
Looks like Lucy is serving first, yeah.
Yes, is going to be our first server.
And the games are underway for the gold medal match of the 50-plus doubles.
We're going to have
one
some
point already.
Very tough competition in this match.
That's for sure.
We've seen some amazing matches today.
Now, it seems to me, Sherry, the last time we did this last year, this same couple, Lucy and Ron, were playing in the gold medal match. So that's good to see that they've come back. They're from Calgary, I believe.
They are.
I don't know where Greg and Pam are from. I didn't find that out.
No. But one of the great advantages is Lucy has a sister and mom who live in Medicine Hat.
Right.
So I think that's a real draw for her to come back.
Now we've got a side out.
One.
Side out, so the service goes over to Greg right now. For those of you who are not familiar with this game of pickleball, we call it the Great Game with a Funny Name. Okay. The objective of the game is played on a court that is roughly the same size as a badminton court.
1, 2, or 1,
and it looks like a giant table tennis top.
Absolutely. And it works out to be very, very well measured for a quarter of a tennis court. So
that's right.
We are able to use our 2 tennis courts that we have down at Strathcona and make them into 8 pickleball courts.
That's right.
So we really utilize them well.
What I'll do at this particular point is mention that the Medicine Hat Pickelball Club is now exactly that. Last year we were just senior services, but we've expanded it so that we have any age can play. We've got an 8-year-old playing. We've got a couple of 14-year-olds playing. We've got some 20s and 30-year-olds, and of course then you've got people like Sherry and I, over 60, shall we call it that.
2, 1, 2.
True confessions, whether we wanted to say it or not, but we're certainly happy to be a part of this game. It's a wonderful way to keep active and hopefully keep in great shape so we can be playing this for another at least 20 years, right, Tom?
Absolutely. This is a sport that is like tennis. It's a
1,
lifetime
2,
sport.
1.
You can play it as a youngster and you can play it as an oldster. Okay, I play down south a lot, and I find that we've got some 80-plus-year-olds that are playing down there. And they're playing in tournaments as active as this, and even getting to the final stages of it. So it's a
2,
lifetime
2,
sport, and it's
1.
very cardiovascular, a good workout, particularly in this heat.
Absolutely. And it's amazing because we'll certainly see people who are aided by a brace on the knee or on the elbow or somewhere.
Right, yeah.
But they're
3,
still able to get
2,
out there
1.
and play the game and do a great job of it.
Yeah, I'm just noticing that
Yeah.
Lucy has got 2
Nice.
braces on there.
Nice.
Pam has got 1 brace on her knee.
And sometimes, I mean,
And Ron's got a
yeah, a little bit everywhere. But
Ron's got a brace on his right elbow. So no matter what, you've got people that can play there. When I
3,
play, I've got
2,
a brace
2.
on my right wrist, and I've got a back band across my waist that nobody ever sees. So that's a confession right there.
yeah, so it's just really letting people be aware. This is such a great game. And the nice part is, if you're not at this level, this gold level play, very, very
4,
few of us
2,
would be.
2.
And you can still come out and have the best time.
That's right.
Especially, I think one of the real great things is there's a lot of days that we arrange it at Pickleball where it's in your wheelhouse, a very similar level that you're comfortable playing with. You can have terrific matches and just enjoy the day
2,
so
4,
very
1.
much.
Well, as a matter of fact, throughout the entire week, the Medicine Hat Pickleball Club down here at Strathcona Courts has a program for each day. As you say, on Mondays it can be more or less an open play, but intermediate
Ball serve.
play or challenge courts or novice courts, etc. We've got that
2,
organized
4,
on Tuesday.
2.
We do have level play, which means you come in at a rated level, whatever you think you can play at.
Right.
And that ends up being exactly what you do. So you're playing against people your own level. On Wednesdays, personally, I teach at 9 o'clock every Wednesday. If you just start learning, the first lesson is
3,
free,
4,
shall we
2.
say?
Yes.
And then we encourage you to join. It's only,
Oh, sorry,
I
4,
forget
2,
how
1.
much, but
Right.
it's very inexpensive to
Exactly.
play pickleball down here in Medicine Hat. Okay, and then on Thursdays we have what they call ladder
Ladders.
play, so it's a commitment
Okay.
from various people who want to play throughout the season every Thursday at a certain level, and they climb the ladder depending on how good their
5,
games
2,
are
1.
in any given time. Friday, it's a beautiful social day, so everybody who is wants to come down can play. We pair you up with all sorts of people. You play for
A wonderful
you play for
drive.
10 minutes, and then you move on to another partner. So very social game.
5, 2,
Saturday
2.
more challenges, so etc. So there's something for everybody along here.
5, 2, 2.
I go. You go. You go. Atta girl.
Two, 5, 1.
I was going to say, I really have to commend Tom for the wonderful work he is doing with instruction. I don't think there's anybody who walks away from a lesson that they've enjoyed with Tom without really feeling they've got some great appreciation for the game. Tom also has led us in a lot of the refereeing clinics and given us
5,
wonderful
2.
advice, and we hope that because today was actually the whole showdown was refereed, that people really appreciate the work that goes into having everybody comfortable enough to come out and referee a game. And I've heard some really good comments today, like, I'm not
3,
getting
5,
paid for
2.
this, I'm doing the best I can.
We're all volunteers here, and I thank you for those kind words, Sherry, but it takes an organization in order for you to be successful, a successful club. And so everybody, yourself included, Sherry, are all contributing to
Ball
that.
serve, side
And
out.
it's just a wonderful club. We're upwards of 175,
3,
180
1.
members now. But don't let that scare you away. The more the merrier. We just love to teach you and show you how. You will love it. And it's called a
Thank you.
pickleball addiction. As a matter of
6,
fact, I've got
3,
a
1.
T-shirt that says that. Pickleball, a healthy addiction, because it is cardiovascular, as I said, and it will be something that you will enjoy for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Another thing that we were very pleased to be able to tell a lot of our out-of-town guests is that we have this beautiful facility with the 8 courts, but we are also very fortunate to have the Family Leisure Center. We have access to some schools, to some churches. So we're very fortunate, and also 1 court in the Strathcona building.
Absolutely.
We're very, very fortunate that we have a number of
6,
even
3,
outdoor
2.
courts that we can play on. So pickleball is something, just because it's full at one area, there's certainly probably somewhere else that you may find an opportunity to play. And
Actually, there's
even
a
in
variety of different pickleball courts all over the city that are in tennis courts. And if you go to places like Carroll School or Ross Glen School, etc.,
Yeah, shot, Lucy.
you will see exactly what we're talking about. You'll see the tennis nets up there, but you'll see some red lines painted on, which are pickleball lines. You can come down, take instruction, and then play on there if you want, or
7,
join
3,
the
2.
club, because it is just a fantastic club.
You go.
Eight, 3, 2. Okay, timeout.
Timeout is called. On this particular game, the score right now is 8-3. They're going to play 3 games. The best 2 out of 3. You play to 11 points. So 8-3, as you can see, is getting close to that. However, if the other team happens to tie it up at 10-10, you have to win by 2 points. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. On this particular game, it's 8-3 for Ron and Lucy against Greg and Pam. And what we'll have here is a timeout. Each team, by the way, is allowed 2 one-minute timeouts. Okay?
And when you're looking at play on a very hot day like today, you really want to take advantage of every chance for a water break, even just a refresher break, just so that you're not playing so hard that someone gets injured or...
8, 3, 2.
I go. I go.
Great back and forth play. One of the things that everybody enjoys, especially as you play the game more, is when you can have a
3,
wonderful
8,
rally,
1.
several shots back and forth. And we're all very jealous when we watch YouTubes and so on of players who have really mastered the game, and you'll see them being able to rally back and forth 20 times in one particular serve. So it's very impressive to have that kind of play.
3,
Of course,
8,
when you're just
2.
starting out, you're just happy to get it over the net maybe once or twice. So skill definitely increases as you play the game more and more, and it's
8,
very
3, 1.
very nice for you to have that feeling that, yes, I am getting better. I can volley the ball longer. Another one of the skills that we really work on is dinking, and that is where we're doing some very soft, short shots over the net, and we can have some pretty good dinking rallies. And
This is what
even
we're doing right now, is dinking.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what. And we even have little
8,
dinking
3,
tournaments,
2.
and it just increases our proficiency in that aspect of the game. We're also really working on lobbing and some very good back and forth shots without letting the ball
9,
bounce.
3,
One
2.
of the things that is very important in pickleball is recognition of the kitchen or non-volley area. Tom, you might want to talk about that.
Sure. As you can see on the cameras, you'll see that there's a
10,
net,
3, 2.
and then 7 feet back from each from the net on each side is a painted yellow line, and that zone is called the non-volley zone, which means you cannot strike the ball in that area
10,
while
3,
it's in
2,
the air. You have to
over.
wait till it bounces at least,
Slide
pardon me, bounces once before you can strike it.
3, 10,
It's
1.
commonly known as the kitchen.
Yes.
Why, we don't know, but
There are
it's kind of
lots
interesting because a lot of
terms in this game.
a lot of the ladies like the fact that it's called the kitchen because then they get the man in the kitchen, right?
Oh.
So
But we'd like it even better if there's some food coming out.
that's right.
But
That's
anyway,
exactly right.
3, 10.
it is. It's kind of cute. It is really interesting to have
3,
these
10,
names
2.
and another thing that you also have to watch is there have to be double bounces on the first 2 shots.
The serve
so the
has
serve
to bounce once,
Has to bounce
and then
once.
on the way back it has to bounce again
Exactly.
before you can do volleys or
Yes.
or
And
volleys like Greg just did there.
That's right. And without that, it's called an air ball, and it's
4, 10,
a
2.
loss for the team that does the air ball without letting it bounce. So you have to really watch for that. That was one of the important things that our referees did today was really watch the kitchen line and the service line because they want to make sure that whoever is serving
5,
does
10,
not
2.
step over the line or onto the line. So that is something that the ref is watching for, as well as being cognizant of what the score is at all times. Can be a bit of a challenge. Oh, another great attempt.
Side out. 10, 5, 1.
10-5. This is an exciting game. This is going to be the point for the match, possibly.
You go.
This will be the first game of 3.
Right. And it was a loss of serve, so now it's
Sorry.
going back to our competitors, Greg and
10,
Pam.
5, 2.
Oh, no, it's back to Ron.
Second server.
10, 5, 2.
Each side
serve.
gets a chance to serve twice. Similar to tennis, only they have to change the person who's doing
Side
it.
out.
Okay. As an example, Lucy served first there, and she lost her serve to Ron, who served there, and then their team lost that
5,
serve. Okay.
10,
So
1.
this
So
is
now
a
it goes
very
back to their opponents.
yes, very important for
This is
our
an interesting
opposition.
technique that you may not have seen before,
Yeah.
viewers, and it's called stacking.
Right.
Okay, and if it happens again, I'll show you how it works. It simply means that each player must serve from a certain court.
Very nice spike. Those
Beautiful
spikes,
spike.
when
And you
they are
noticed he
done
stayed
well,
out of the
very,
kitchen?
very
He
effective.
stayed out of the kitchen, and they're making a comeback here. It's now 6-10.
Right. A very exciting game, especially in this heat. No, that one was long. It's so
Right.
amazing if you're able to serve to the very back of the court. If you can hit the line, that's a great boon. But sometimes they will go out, and that particular shot was just over the line.
Now you got a bit of a breeze going here, which is
Mhm.
thankful.
Yes.
It's
So we're
very
having a
helpful to
quick
have a
drink.
lot of water when it's this hot. And so if they call to the referee for a water break, they're allowed to have the water break, but they are not allowed to communicate with each other.
Six,
And Tim's
10,
even
2.
being very, very wonderful in replenishing our water supplies.
All right,
because
here we go.
Even though we're not doing very hard work, we need water. Okay, the battle is on. We just saw an excellent lob shot. And those are a high lifting shot. Whoa. Whoa.
Now, sometimes that
Side
happens.
out.
Your timing gets off,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you still have an
Oh.
opportunity if the ball hasn't been struck before it bounces the second time, which
Yeah.
is what
10,
Greg
6,
tried to do there.
Yes.
Then you can hit it again, but unfortunately he missed. He missed the first time, just timing was off.
Yes, and he was going to drive that one very hard, what had been his intent. So we
Now
got a little
Lucy served that, so is the second server, which will be Ron in this
Ron
particular
10,
case.
6, 2.
And the score is 10 to 6, and he's the second server. So that's when you hear the referee say 10, 6, 2. That's what the 2 stands for, second server.
Exactly. And when you're having a refereed game, you're not allowed
That's the
to
game.
smoke.
That's the first
There we
game.
go.
Goes to Ron and Lucy.
Very well played.
And as you can hear, the applause is
Very
just
nice.
phenomenal. Just phenomenal.
Exactly. We still have a bit of a crowd base that we're very pleased that people have managed to survive this heat.
Well, they're moving
7-6.
farther and farther back.
Yes.
In
Trying to
terms
find
of,
some shade.
You,
Oh, Rhonda can do Vanna White spin the wheel. That sounds kind
while
of
we're waiting
exciting.
for the next game to start, it's important to tell people why this game is called pickleball.
Yes.
I mean, it's really interesting because it is such a crazy name, or a strange name, or whatever, what you might call it. Dumb name, some people call. I prefer to call a strange name, okay? We always call it a good name with a strange name. A great game with a strange name, okay? Now, pickleball is originated in way back in '63. That's 1963.
Exactly.
In a place just south of Seattle, Washington. And it has grown to become the fastest growing sport in the world now.
Yes.
And as far as I can recall, it's in at least 7, perhaps 10 countries. And if my memory serves right, once you get to 12 countries, then you can ask to be part of the Olympic Games. So my prediction is that this game is growing so quickly. Last year when we were here, we had 62 entries for this tournament, and we now have 110 entries, I think. So we
right.
doubled. We almost doubled.
Yes, we were
That's
very
how fast the
pleased.
sport's growing, and how a credit to our pickleball club to say
yes.
that those people are coming from far and wide. Anyway, back to why is it called pickleball? Well, as I say, it was invented near Seattle, and a gentleman had a tennis court in his yard, and he ended up having some of his land expropriated to build a freeway. So he shortened his court and invented this game, him and his buddies. And they started playing with this little wiffle ball and paddles and everything like that. And at the end of it all, every time the ball went astray, instead of going after it, their dog came running and got the ball and buried it in the bushes or whatever. And that's how it got its
Wow.
name. Oh, by the way, Carrie, what was the name of the dog?
Pickle.
Pickles. Pickles was the name of the
Oh,
dog.
Pickles.
Yeah, but it's hard to say
Correct.
Pickles ball, so they just changed it to pickleball. Now, who knows whether that story is true, but it sure sounds like a logical explanation to me.
And I read a book when I was in Phoenix, and that was a story that they relayed exactly as Tom tells it. So I'm thinking it has to be fact. Having a really strong match right now. Very close. 1 for Ron and Lucy,
0-1.
0 for Greg and Pam.
Now, one of the things that you'll notice throughout this entire game and any other game is the fact that the players communicate with each other.
Yes.
They'll say if the ball's close
1,
to the middle and they're not
0,
sure who's going to take it, one player will say mine or yours or, take
And
it
it's
or something
so
like that.
helpful.
And,
it really guides your partner.
One of the things that I hear that Greg and Pam do is Greg is constantly saying, you go, and talking about that to Pam. So she knows that she's responsible for that shot as it's coming across the net.
Absolutely. Having a partner who even
0-1,
reminds you, get up there, get back, it's yours. Every one of those little clues is very, very helpful. And particularly when you're learning, it's very beneficial because it just reminds you of the correct positionings that you should be in. And sometimes you just aren't there, but if you get reminded enough, hopefully it will start to become something in your nature of play.
Right.
So, very helpful. I was also going to say one of the
Okay,
things that
1,
we're really
0-1.
trying to do too is get pickleball into the schools where we're getting some of the kids who are here playing to even demonstrate for their teammates that, hey, look at this. Isn't this a great game that I'm playing? And
Phenomenal rally going on here.
Oh,
Oh,
Wonderful.
really good rally.
Wonderful play. And another
So
thing
1-0.
that Tom and I have
1-0-2.
both said about this being a
No,
social
the one-
game,
okay.
you will not only hear
Okay.
players who are partners congratulating each other, you'll very often hear compliments to the other side. Everybody is very cordial and wants to have a good game, a fair game, and their admiration goes not just for their partner but also for the other team. If there's a particularly good play, they will usually comment on
Absolutely.
Okay.
So back to this game.
1-0-1.
that. We're still at
Yeah, we're still at 1-0-1.
right. Oh, and it's out.
And the line, the
2-0-1.
ball lined outside the line there,
Yes.
which is out of bounds, which means it's a dead ball.
Well, no, in.
She hit it.
When the ball goes and the receiving team calls it out,
3-0-1.
even if they are the one whose
3-0-1.
decision stands, the opposition can challenge it, and if there's a referee, he has an opportunity to say what he thought. But it definitely, in day-to-day play, is the receiving court's call
3-0-2.
as to whether it's in or out.
That's
Or if it's even when you're serving, if it's on the right side of the court or not. And it makes a big impact on the game if you're having some of your shots just outside.
Go.
Wow. Great
out.
play. Absolutely great play.
Good stuff.
All right.
0-3-1.
0-3. So Greg is now serving.
I go.
They're a bit behind, 0-3.
You go. Out.
Sometimes your partner will see it's out, but it may be just a bit too late for you to react.
That's right.
And so
Absolutely.
you've already begun your return, and so
0-3-2.
that's just what's going to happen, and you just keep on playing.
You go. I go.
Now, something I just noticed here is that we have a left-hander
Yes.
in Greg. He plays with his left hand. And probably if a lot of good players are
3-0-1.
ambidextrous as well, or at
Yes.
least can play with their opposite hand to be effective enough, but not necessarily 100% ambidextrous. But Greg is a very efficient player.
Yes, he's got
which
both
at
hands
that
going.
particular time, the way
Yeah.
they were going, with Pam being a right-hander and Greg a left-hander, they have two
3-0-2.
forehands down the middle of the court, which
Absolutely.
is very powerful.
It can be very powerful. And
Now,
you
here's what they call stacking. Lucy is about to serve. Okay, she has to, because of the score, which is 3, she has to
3-0-2.
serve from that court, because she
Court.
was the first server in the opposite court. But
That's right.
as soon as she does that, she's going to move over to the other court, which is
and then
legitimate.
Ron moves into his
Yeah,
position.
right.
There's supposed to be advantages to that. Tom, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, again, it's a matter of where you want
Preference?
your strong server or strong forehand person to end up on any given point. So it's a matter of the score is a point for them.
Yes.
So it's a 4. So she was the original server, so she has to serve from that court every time her score is even.
That's right.
Okay, so it's 4, so that's an even number. She has to serve from there. If she is in doubt at all, she may ask the referee, but the referee cannot tell her what.
Switch.
Side.
Good try.
The referee cannot say, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong court. She has to wait.
5-0-2.
And determine if she can figure it out from the
Okay,
scoring
timeout.
which side she should be on. Okay, when the teams are now taking probably a very much needed break, what they do is lay their paddle down. Whoever is going to be serving next will have the ball tucked under their racket, and everybody else lays their racket down.
They're supposed to
In
leave
the
their racket in
position
their particular court,
in-
and I see
yeah,
that that's true,
exactly.
except because they use stacking, then you see Ron has put his racket on the outside of Lucy's.
Right. So it's actually ready for play. When you come in from your break, all the paddles are where you will resume the game as it was prior to the break.
You're 2?
Yeah.
Okay, 5-0-2.
5:02, the game is resuming. Everybody goes back to their paddle that had been set down in the correct position. Lucy did a fabulous serve right on the back line. Those are very tough to get back.
And what happens sometimes
6-0-2.
with a gust that came up at that point, Pam might have thought she was going to get it in, but the wind causes it to drift. So that's one of the hazards of playing.
Because this
Playing
is a very
outdoor.
light wiffle ball.
Yep.
It doesn't have any weight like a
0-6-1.
tennis ball. So if we have a windy day and we're playing down here, we've actually started to even put weights around the base of the net, because otherwise our nets can blow over, and it's pretty difficult to have very much of a good game because the nets are falling over, the ball is going in
Well, thank
different
God
directions.
it's not that way today.
Yes, no, it's very still with just a hint of a breeze. Oh, a drizzle over the net, and Ron was able to recover.
Yeah.
And so was Lucy. Very nice play. Very
See,
nice play.
Lucy leaned way over to make that shot, but it was still a slam or a volley,
6-0,
even though she was
1.
outside
Exactly.
the non-volley zone, which is perfect.
And that's
She could have just dinked it back over and continued on the dinking, but she chose to use the smash.
very nice shot by Pam. Grab the line. And one of the things that's kind of interesting on our
6-0-2.
courts, sometimes when you hit the actual line, it almost skids. So that's a very big advantage to hit the line, because if you get
That's
that
right.
little skid with it, it's really difficult for the opposition to return that serve or shot.
Right.
It's
0-6-1.
What you might not be noticing is most of these players, of these three players, are putting spins on the ball,
absolutely.
whether it's overhand or not. That ball can be spinning.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. There's all kinds of little
And
twists
that
you can
cause,
do.
Yeah, that causes it
to-
to skid
0-6-2.
when it hits the ground or whatever, which forces you to
0-6-2.
not be able to return the shot, shall we say.
That's exactly true. Or reassess the shot. Sometimes you actually have to wait till it lands, see which side it's going to favor, and then make your shot. Because if you try to hit it while it's still spinning madly, you don't have a very good chance of returning it across the net to the opposition. Instead, it will veer off to the side, and you lose your opportunity for a point.
Now, right now, Ron
Nice.
and Lucy are playing near the back of the court,
Just out.
and that is a different strategy than you see most
6-0-2.
players do. Most players like to charge the net and play the dink game from the court, where right now, for whatever reason, their strategy is let's play at the back.
Exactly. And it is kind of an interesting strategy. And one of the things that I've noticed, even watching throughout the day, is there haven't been a lot
0-6-1.
of real strong dinking matches that I've noticed.
No. There was earlier in this game, and here we're going. Well,
Yeah, there we're going. It's a real strong game
nice
for
shot by
sure.
Greg there. He was had to go way back there. but
Good
he managed
shot.
to get a smash that took Ron by surprise.
So now we've got
1-6,
1 point
1.
for Greg and Pam against the 6 points for Lucy and Ron. Oh, and just a
There's a
miss
second
there.
point for Greg.
Yes. Yeah. Little bit of a breeze
2,
coming here, so
6,
we'll all be
1.
appreciating that little bit of wind movement here.
I go. Watch it. Oh, it's in. Shot, Lucy. Thanks. Nice pull.
2-6-2.
We're getting some really
it's
nice
2,
shots.
6-2. It's 2 for Greg and Pam versus 6.
Oh, and another out shot. And you know, the nice thing, Tom, I'm seeing smiles on everybody's
3,
face,
6, 2.
jokes from Pam. It's really nice to see that kind of camaraderie out on the court.
So it's now 3-6-2. They scored a point there. You can
Oh.
only score a point when you're serving.
Right.
Okay? If you miss your serves after your first 2 serves, it's a side out, just like in
6,
volleyball.
3, 1.
And then the service goes over to your opposition.
6, 3,
Exactly.
1.
This game is a real combination of an assortment of sports, from
That's right.
ping pong, tennis, badminton.
Racquetball, squash.
Actually,
Those are all
yeah.
transferable skills for this particular point.
absolutely. And we really noticed it. I know yesterday when we were having men's
7,
play
3,
and the
1.
ladies singles, there was comments going around like, wow, the people who play tennis seem to be the ones who are just so fabulous at pickleball. So
Well, that
it is
may
a
be, but I
very
used to play tennis and
transferable-
I'm not fabulous anymore.
No, not true. But it certainly does help your game. You've already
8,
developed that
3,
hand-eye
1.
coordination that is so beneficial.
That's exactly right.
And certainly ping pong or any of those sports where you're used to that ball coming very quickly back and yet still able to respond. Those are all very helpful for
Well,
this game.
Yeah, and the other thing, Sherry, similar to any sport that involves the ball, you do
3,
best by
2.
keeping your eye on the ball at
Oh,
all
yes.
times. The same
At
as in
all
baseball, as in
times.
golf, football, etc. Keep your eye on the ball.
And follow through.
And
Yet
follow
another.
through. Exactly that.
It's so amazing how so many sports really require the same basic skills. And so I guess that's
Got a
why
great rally
athletic-
going on here.
Wow. What a
And
rally.
it comes right over here, over the fence.
We even
It's a
almost
home
got
run,
ball.
ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Wonderful play. Right now we're looking at 8 for Lucy and Ron and 3 for Pam and Greg. So they're battling it out. And remembering that this game will go to 11 if they do happen to have
8, 3.
a really close
Yes, and keep in mind that
game
Ron and
that
Lucy
they-
have won the first game. Okay.
Exactly.
3 serving
it's-
8.
That's right.
And there it is. The last digit, as I mentioned before, is the number of the server.
Oh, wow.
So the number of the server, I think.
Now we're getting a hug across
Yeah,
the net
that's right.
because,
4,
I think they're all very hot out there.
Very tired,
and now
very
the crazy
hot.
stuff comes out.
yes. Oh,
Good
that was a
call.
good call.
5, 8, 1.
Sometimes you can just be an
Oh,
inch
so
or two over that line.
Pam
but
is server number 1, so this is going very well for them. They've gained about 4 or 5 points.
right. They're
4, I
coming
guess.
back. Oh,
Another
and some
out
of
call.
those are
It's another
slipping.
point
So
for
now we're
Pam.
looking at
6,
8 for
8,
Lucy and
1.
Ron against 6 for
Okay.
Pam and Greg. And we've called
Timeout.
Lucy has just called another timeout, which is one of the strategy moves. Sometimes when you see the other team has gained a few points on you, it's not a bad idea. Call a timeout, regroup with your partner, think about, what are we doing wrong that suddenly we're losing maybe control of the game as we thought we had prior. So you have a quick timeout, give yourself a bit of chance to regroup, and even throw the opposition's momentum off.
Now you'll
which-
notice that Lucy is walking away over to the shady part.
Shady
She's
area.
obviously getting extremely warm, and so is Greg.
Yeah.
It's too bad we can't play in an air-conditioned building, but then it would be indoors, wouldn't it?
Exactly. And most of the people are very, very happy to play outdoors and enjoy the heat. Although after a very long day, it does become kind of it is becoming harder to bear. But
While we're on a
it's still
break here,
lovely.
Greg is trying to get the crowd to make a wave.
Yes. Good.
As we say, this is a
Very social.
very social type game.
Yes. And honestly, when you look and see the great smiles on the players' faces, or looking even in the audience and seeing everybody is having a good time. And why are we here? To have a good time. We really, really want to enjoy what we're doing and get the benefits of exercise as an added plus. Okay, I think everybody's ready to come on back after that nice break and a tiny bit of shade. Well, Pam's even letting them know. Watch out, she's back. So that's great attitude. Great attitude. And with a very nice tight match here.
Okay, 6-8-1.
Pam and Greg are 6.
Yes, and a reminder
for
that
Ron and
Pam
Lucy.
and Greg are just on their first serve at the particular round. So Pam,
6-8-1.
Very good. Reiterating that score just to make sure everybody's on the same page. If you don't have a referee, it's very important to announce your score prior to your serve. That way, if anybody on the opposition
6,
disagrees
8,
with
2.
what you're calling out, they can say right away, no, that's not quite what it should be. And it's just a little bit different, of course. When you have a referee, you're waiting for him to announce your score before you're allowed to serve. But it's always nice when you are serving to wait a few seconds after announcing the score in case there is any need to
6-1.
discuss if everything is being stated clearly. Probably the biggest thing we forget if we're player number 1 or number 2, right, Tom?
that's correct.
Definitely. And
When
we're
I'm-
not saying it's because we're old. We just
Yeah.
don't have the best
When I,
memories, I guess.
When I teach it, I said, well, people say, what's the game to? How do you score, etc. I said, I always teach you the
8,
hardest
6,
thing last,
2.
and that's how to keep score in this game because people perceive it to be difficult. It isn't once you hear the
No.
logic of it, but
Absolutely.
I always save that to last. The last thing they learn is how to keep score.
Right. And Tom is right, though. It does seem a little bit complicated at the beginning because in order to make it fair, the first server is the second player. So he's announced, or she is
1.
announced as being server number 2 right off the bat. So the first server doesn't play, but that way it makes it even for both teams instead of giving a marked advantage to the team that does get to start.
That's correct. That's the reason why they put that
6,
particular
8,
rule in
2.
there, so it levels the playing field, as we say.
Exactly.
The score
In
is
this-
6-8, and Pam is now the second server.
Right. In because we have
I
referees.
notice that they're forcing this team
Right.
to play at the back of the net.
Yes. Yeah. Good play. If you can dominate the pickle line, you generally have the advantage.
The kitchen
Okay.
line.
So,
yeah.
or the kitchen line. Sorry,
Eight,
I'm
That's
giving
all
it
right.
a new line,
One.
new name, just
We got it.
because, just because I can.
That's right.
But anyway, yes, you want to dominate the kitchen line if possible, because you can be far more of an offensive player. And if you're backing the team up, there's always more chances of the ball going out and
9-6-1.
and having to really
Okay.
work as a player running back and forth trying to get that ball
Yep.
rather than being more stable at
Just
the
in
kitchen
case you're
line.
tuning in right now, this is the 60-plus mixed doubles gold medal from the Showdown in the Hat, Medicine Hat Pickelball Club tournament here in 2017 on a beautiful July day in Medicine Hat, Alberta at the wonderful Strathcona Courts.
Oh, what a wonderful play. Wow, that was
Sometimes
just a
those
fabulous
plays are
rally.
the beautiful
10,
rally going on
6,
there,
1.
and sometimes you just nick the top of that net, which throws the timing, and your timing off as an opposition, and boom, the rally's over.
Yeah. So our score now is 10 for Lucy and Ron, 6 for Pam and Greg.
11.
Oh, that's the end
That's
of
the
our
game.
match.
Yep. Best 2 out of 3.
And that was best
And
2
Ron
of
and
3.
Lucy have won a gold medal.
Wonderful
And,
play.
Greg and Pam worthy opponents, but unfortunately they came up on the silver side rather than the gold
That's
side.
right. Great play.
Way to go, guys.
I can't say it was my best game, though.
Well, the heat is just incredible, eh? Wow.
Thanks, Rick.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
We'll be right back
Thank
with
you.
a new game,
Yeah.
the gold medal match with the 60-plus people. The referee today is Lutz Perjean, and we've got Ira and Mike against
Ruth
Gord
Mary
and
Gord.
Ruth Mary, and that just happens to be people from Medicine Hat. So they're in the gold medal match of the 60-pluses.
Okay.
This should be a
0-0-2.
wonderful match.
Start.
Of course, the score
Started-
starts off as 0-0, and
And-
the second server, as we were mentioning, to have the
Ira's got the
take
first
away the
point.
disadvantage of being having the service.
Okay. So a point for Ira. And it's Ira Fazio, Mike Wagner, Ruth Mary Hollis, and Gord Masson.
Point.
And this will be the 60-plus, as I mentioned, having watched the 50-plus mixed final just a few
2-0-2.
minutes ago.
A long serve.
Side out.
It's a long serve, which means it's a side out.
That's
Going
right.
over to Ruth Mary will now be the
0-2-1.
service.
Good serve by Ruth Mary. Yeah. Great shot. Just touching that back line.
Point.
We love to do that.
There's a
1-2-1.
big gust of wind coming up here now. It might
Yes.
affect her serve.
Nope. It was a very good serve. And a lob by Gord. Smash by Mike. Mike is a very
Cross serve,
proficient
second
smasher.
server.
I happen to know that because my partner and I played against
Oh,
Mike
I
and Ira
see.
earlier in the day, and I'm very well aware of those
1-2-2.
great smashes, although he did tell me I kind of set him up. So it was certainly my fault. Oh, a nice one from
Side out.
Ira. Okay. Tight game going here. 2 for Ira and Mike, 1 for Ruth
2-1-1.
Mary and Gord.
So the score is 2-1-1 right now. That sounds like 2-11, but it's not. It's 2 for their side, for the serving side, and 1 for the
Off
receiving
serve.
side.
Second server.
And the 1 or 2 at the very end is
2-1-2.
is the number of the server. So Mike is
Exactly.
the second server. So now it's 2-1-2.
Ira is a fabulous lobber. That's another thing that I learned from playing against them.
Point.
Right. The other thing too,
3-1-2.
Sherry, is right now there's a bit of a breeze, and that might have been out. And I think Ruth Mary made a judgment call on that,
Side
and
out.
that could be that the breeze just held that ball in because it is a rather
Absolutely.
light plastic ball,
1-3-1.
It is.
not a
very
heavy tennis
light.
rubber ball.
There's no comparison between even the bounce and so on. With the tennis ball, there's so much more weight, so much more bounce to them.
Cross serve.
This
Second
ball
server.
does have a bit of bounce, but you have to really get on it very quickly,
1-3-2.
or it can easily just almost die right out on you. Especially if you have a really good spin on it. Kind of drops
Point.
down and doesn't do much bouncing for you. Okay, Ruth Mary's up to serve now.
2-3-2.
2-3-2. So Ruth Mary has 2, the opposition has 3.
No.
Very nice. Ruth Mary called it in, and Gord was calling it out, but she made the right call, and she slammed it back.
Exactly that. And sometimes partners will disagree with each other.
But
It's
you
all a
have
matter
to
of
use
personal judgment.
Absolutely, because the last thing you want is to leave it and then discover, oh, it's just in the court, and we did nothing. And I mean, you can
I
always
don't
hope
know
it's
whether this is picked up on camera or not, but as we said, this is a sport with a ball. So like every sport with a ball, you must
4-3-2.
keep your eye on the ball at all times. And if the camera picks it up, you watch these good players, they will be
Side out.
looking at the ball even as they serve it.
3, 4, 1.
And that's part of the good follow through. A lot of times you kind of get hypnotized
serve
almost
second
into
server.
thinking, that's where I want the ball to go. So instead of watching the
3, 4,
ball, you're
2.
looking at where you want the ball to go. It does not usually work very well.
Now, there
As-
was a rare mistake at this level where Ira
4,
served
3,
the ball
1.
and it came over to the wrong court. So that's a
Yes.
fault. And she loses her serve because of it.
That's right. Oh.
Point.
And again, with a little bit of wind, you can see some drift because some of the better servers will really try to have an
5,
accurate
3,
serve where they're
1.
just over the line or just at the back. And so if a breeze comes up, it can maybe just be enough to switch that position of the ball
Point.
landing. So you have to play with the wind, play with the weather, just
6, 3, 1.
6-3-1.
Again, this is a final for the
Nice play.
60-plus mixed doubles of the Medicine
Off
Hat
serve,
Pickleball
second
Club
server.
Showdown in the Hat annual tournament.
This is our
For
third
pickleball.
annual.
That's correct.
Already. How'd that happen, Tom?
I don't know. I still feel very old
No.
when it's that, when you say that.
It's just amazing. Ruth Mary,
Side out.
whom I love and play with quite often, always has the greatest comments on a miss.
That's right.
Such as, oh shucks, that was a
3-6.
Or
typical
darn.
one. And yeah, she,
Or if she misses a shot, that's really wimpy, she'll
Yeah.
say.
or that's one clown down.
That's
She-
right.
She's going to laugh when she hears us saying all her little comments. Very nice play. Gord did a great shot there, but
Point.
then he couldn't.
Mike came back with just as good
yeah,
a shot. And
absolutely, and he
managed to
couldn't
defeat him.
return that one.
And it's a side out, so Ira's going to get to serve again. Well, pardon me, Mike.
4,
served
6,
that one.
back to
1.
Mike.
4,
We're
6, 1,
looking
yeah.
at 4-6-1. So Mike and Ira 4. Ruth Mary and Gord have 6.
And this is the
Remi-
best 2 out of 3. Each
That's
game is
right.
to 11. And you have to win by 2 points.
Yeah, that's right.
So, if, an
Bust
example,
serve.
if it's 10 to 9 and then
Yes, second
then
server.
becomes 10 to 10,
Yeah.
then you have to win by 12 to 10.
Oh, so 4.
So sometimes
4, 6,
these
2.
games can have a long duration as
That's right.
each side just keeps tying it up or pulling one ahead. But until you have that 2-point lead, very nice driller shots by
Side
Ruth
out.
Mary.
Now, what's happening here is that there's a lot of lobs coming from Mike
Mm-hmm.
and Ira.
And Ruth
Gives an
Mary's
opportunity
responding.
for
6, 4,
give the
1.
opportunity for your opposition to volley it or smash it. Gord is using a lot of volleys too. I see
Yeah.
a lot of high play. Lots of players you'll see do what they call dinking.
Oh,
This is
wow.
not what they're doing now.
Great
This is what they call
return by
smashing.
Mike.
Off the serve,
Yes, definitely
second
far
server.
more of a smashing, hard shot game.
6, 4, 2.
And these are the kinds of games that are so fun to play because you do need to have a lot more patience and control if you're going to get into a dinking match. Of course, if you're able to smash the ball hard, you're
As Mike
often,
smashes it?
yes, you're often able to finish
Side
the point, and so that can be a real advantage. And it is a little bit intimidating if you're on the receiving
That's
end
right.
of a very
4, 6,
hard
1.
driven shot. Era is up
Now, we're talking about a lot of lobs and smashes here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's happening at the net. There's back and forth, real hard
Very.
shots.
Oh, and then
Unlike that game that we watched in the
Second server.
50-plus mixed final, you'll see
4,
that
6, 2.
these people are doing a lot of smashing, whereas we
Very
did see a lot more of the dinking style from that other game.
that's right. Sometimes I think as you get hotter,
Side
tireder,
out.
it's more tempting to go into a harder smash game just because you want to not prolong the play.
You
so
want to get it
much.
over with, eh?
And with the dinking, it can go on for a long
Yes,
period
it
of
can.
time. And this way you feel like, gee, maybe I can just finish it.
Second server.
6-4-2. Four, 6-1.
We're actually in the process of developing what we hope is going to be a really catchy logo for our pickleball club, and we're really looking forward to it being accepted so that we are able to promote our club on t-shirts, hats, and
Exactly
various
that, yep.
merchandise like that. I think it'll be a great opportunity. We've got some pretty good ideas going on right now, so I hope that our membership really likes
Got
that.
a very close match going on here. Ira just served it to the wrong side.
Very frustrating.
Unfortunately, yes, it is very frustrating when you
Yes.
when you know. A lot of instructors and coaches will tell you,
5-6-2.
don't worry about how good your serve is, just get it in, because the play is where you make your points.
Exactly. And so that is probably the most frustrating thing that can happen is, oh no, how could I have missed my serve?
Point.
Because you know you're very capable of making a
Six,
serve.
six, two.
But sometimes when you try to get fancy, that's when things may go astray, and then
Point.
you don't even have a chance to make a point once you've lost that serve.
7-6-2.
7-6-2. This is now for Ira and Mike. Oh, that was a very
That's
nice
mighty
close
close there,
shot.
mighty
That
close,
was a
yeah.
close one.
This is one thing our referee, Lutz Perjan, was
6,
saying to me
7-1.
between games here, is that he says it's amazing when you're refereeing and you think the ball is in and you wonder why the opposition is calling it out, and you're wondering why the server isn't saying
Second server.
to you as the referee, you know, what did you see, ref, you know.
6,
But
7-2.
people, usually players have a better eye than the referee simply because of where they're standing.
Exactly.
Not because
They have the
they've got
correct
better eyesight.
position.
It's just simply
Well,
because of
yeah.
where they're standing.
Absolutely.
And this happens in many, many sports,
Side
actually,
out.
you know.
Yes.
So if you're standing, the size of this court is 44 feet long,
7, 6,
so half of it is
1.
22 feet. And you're looking from one end to the other, that's 44 feet, and you might see it as in when you serve it, but the people who are real close to it, right at the other end, can see it a lot better than you can. And not only that,
Absolutely.
because of parallax, good old scientific word there,
Sorry.
your vision is
busy
like a
getting the ball.
refraction in the water kind of thing.
8-6-1.
So your vision is a little bit distorted from what the people who are that close will do.
Exactly. And one of the things to remember is when you are calling it out, you should be hopefully
serve.
seeing not beyond
server.
like at least some portion of the
8,
color
6,
on
2.
the side that you're calling it out, so that if it's touching the line
It's
in
in.
any way, it's considered in. So hopefully you're looking for at least a little bit of space just to determine, yes, that is an out ball.
9-6-2.
Now, what I've noticed in this particular one, this team of Mike and Ira were down quite a few points at
Yes.
the beginning, and now they've come back and they have upped their game in a variety of different ways. They're not smashing it anywhere near as hard as they used to.
Just because they
And,
may be getting
Side
tired.
out.
Well, in addition to that, they might have figured out that they're not making any
Yes.
points that way, so they changed their
Absolutely.
style. Which is perfectly legitimate. You change your style
Yes. Good
according
strategy.
to what it is. The score is now 6-9 for the serving team, which is
Okay.
Ruth Mary and Gord.
Ruth Mary.
7-9-1.
Wow.
Lots of lob shots here, as I say.
Wow.
Lots of high ball play.
Yeah. Very good
It's out.
try.
Now Gord will
Second
get to
server.
serve here.
Oh, we're closing in
7-9-2.
again.
7-9 server 2 if you want to look at
Seven.
it that way.
7 for Ruth Mary and Gordon. 9 for Ira and Mike.
Side out.
And a side out. Back to Mike.
9-7-1.
Oh, wow. Gord
Nice get
recovered.
from
That
Gord.
was a toughie.
He puts a lob up so he can
Oh, wow.
get his composure. That's
Yeah.
a good idea to get his lob up high there.
Absolutely.
It gives him some time to get his composure
Even a
after
second or
after a
two
strong
can make.
strong get on that side shot.
Absolutely. It's amazing how just even having a couple of seconds just to compose yourself, get your position back, makes a huge amount of difference. Oh,
11.
again,
Almost
Gord-
another great get.
almost.
That ends that game at 11-6, I believe, 11-7.
Yes. So we have got
For
a
this
real
one, we've
match
got a
going.
good match going here.
One
And they'll
game.
take a break, and then they'll come back to another game.
Absolutely.
The best 2 out of 3. The
Yes.
games are 2-11. It's important to tell people why this game is called pickleball. I mean, it's really interesting because it is such a crazy name. We always call it a great game with a strange name, okay? Now, pickleball is originated in way back in 63. That's 1963. In a place just south of Seattle, Washington. And it has grown to become the fastest growing sport in the world now. As far as I can recall, it's in at least 7, perhaps 10 countries. And if my memory serves right, once you get to 12 countries, then you can ask to be part of the Olympic Games. So my prediction is that this game is growing so quickly. Last year when we were here, we had 62 entries for this tournament, and we now have 110 entries, I think.
That's
So
right.
we doubled. We almost doubled.
Yes, we were very
That's how fast
pleased.
this sport's growing, and how a credit to our pickleball club
Oh,
to
yes.
say that those people are coming from far and wide. Anyway, back to the why is it called pickleball? Well, as I say, it was invented near Seattle, and a gentleman had a tennis court in his yard, and he ended up having some of his land expropriated to build a freeway. So he shortened his court and invented this game, him and his buddies. And they started playing with this little wiffle ball and paddles and everything like that. And at the end of it all, every time the ball went astray, instead of going after it, their dog came running and got the ball and buried it in the bushes or whatever. And that's how
Wow.
it got its name. Oh, by the way, Carrie, what was the name of the dog?
Oh, Pickles.
Pickles. Pickles was the name of the dog. Yeah, but it's hard to say Pickles ball, so they just changed it to Pickleball.
0-0-2.
And we're
Mike
starting our
and
second
Ira
game.
won the first game, and Ruth Mary serves here now.
Nice return by Gord and by Mike.
Ruth Mary was the server, so she just lost her serve there, and now it will go over here. So it was designated, she was designated because of the very first serve of the game. She was designated as server number 2.
That's right.
They only get 1 serve. Usually you'll get 2 serves, and then
0-0-1.
from every round from now on, they'll get 2 serves.
That's right. So now Ira will have her.
As you
She's
kn-
first server, and Mike will be second server. And the
It's over
first
there.
server
Yeah.
will continue serving until they lose a point.
That's correct. They just
Or
keep
lose a point, so
changing,
otherwise she'll just keep
go back
switching
and forth
sides.
from the left to the right side and right to the left side. pardon me.
1-0.
That's
One.
right. Very nice play. Very nice. Gordon's playing very defensively and
That's right.
strongly.
Server.
Just
I find that the team
Hard
of
shots
Ira,
from Mike.
Ira and Mike are very offensive
Yes.
and forcing Ruth Mary and Gordon to play a defensive style of game.
1-0-2.
nice shot. Yes. Ruth Mary's just whatever they give, she's getting it back
Side
and
out.
watching for that
It's a side out there, and they kept their opposition down to only 1 point on that particular
Excellent.
round. Now Ruth Mary will be
0-1-1.
server number 1 for this particular round.
Good job.
Point.
Yeah, another game.
And
We've got a
Gord
tie
returned that
game.
hard really fast, which causes, of course, the opposition to react. If you don't react as fast, you're going to probably mishit it, which was happened there, and then it went
1-1-1.
out of bounds, so they get a point. You can only score points when you are serving.
That's right.
Now we're into more of a dink game,
There we go.
and
Very
the
good
dink
play.
game at the right time, then you end up with a smash, which Gord did, netting a point for his team.
All right.
2 1 1.
I'm looking at the faces of our players. They are looking very hot.
It's a hot day, and it's going to have its toll on everybody.
That's for sure. Tomorrow is 37 degrees is our forecast, and that will be the
Second
women's
server.
finals. So the women are a little bit nervous about getting to play in
Well,
such
no
heat.
kidding. That's going to be pretty hot.
2
but
1 2.
if they're playing a lot of the part in the kitchen, then they know it's always hot in the kitchen.
Yeah. But we just don't like it in
Short
the kitchen.
serve there. Yeah. Lord made the serve, and it was too short,
Short.
meaning that it didn't cross that kitchen
Side
line on his serve. So therefore, he loses a serve, and he was the second server on that side. So it goes on
Sorry.
over to
1
this
2 1.
side, where the score is now 1, 2, 1.
One of the
The
things
one
that
being the first serve.
one of the things that
Point.
we did have the men's singles last year, but this year we actually brought in women's and men's. Nancy Dick
2
was the
2
winner
1.
of the women's singles, and it is a very exciting, fast-moving game. It really brings to mind a tennis match.
Absolutely.
3 2 1.
Usually a lot longer of a game. You're not going to see a lot of dinking because you have to cover so much of the course that you're going to be running back and forth quite a bit more. Very
Now I noticed this
active
team
game.
of Mike and Ira are not even attempting to come to the line. They're playing all the game from the baseline here,
Right.
which is legit, but
And
it
a
didn't work for them.
defensive game.
That's
and
right.
it can work for you as well.
Yep.
And I guess that's one of the things that my partner and I
2
always
2.
try to discuss. Who do we think we're going to have more advantage? Who's a weaker player? What kind of a game does this team play? Are they a great dinking team, lobbing team, smashing team?
Right.
And we
Side out.
try to plan that or play accordingly.
Yeah, what we just saw there from Ira was, again, misjudgment, and she managed to miss the ball completely,
2 3
which
1.
caused them to lose their serve.
Right. So Ruth Mary has just served that one and lost the serve.
Second serve.
So Ruth Mary Gord are now standing at 2 against Ira and Mike's 3. Tom and I are thrilled. We
2
actually
3
have
2.
a scoreboard right beside us this time, so it certainly makes it easier to hear or see what the score is on each of the plays. Wow.
Side out.
It almost looked like Gord's momentum went into
Yes.
the kitchen anyways, but he lost.
Yeah,
He lost the ball
exactly.
3
based
2
on
1.
the fact that it hit the net
Mm-hmm.
on his side.
And that's one of the interesting things, too, Tom and I are both aware of, and that is if you see your partner falling into the kitchen area,
Yeah.
try to grab him.
Grab him.
Because you don't want his hat, his sunglasses,
3 2
anything
2.
falling into the kitchen when he's made that shot, because that can lose the serve for you, and you're able to grab the back of your partner's shirt if necessary,
Point.
just to prevent them from falling
Exactly.
into the kitchen or stepping in
That's
when
right.
they've just made the
Because
shot.
as soon as they cross that
2-2.
line, even the momentum carrying them after their shot is a fault.
That's right. Good returns.
No.
Oh,
Point.
Now you hear various partners tell they're communicating with their partner. On that particular one, Mike was saying, that ball's going out, don't hit it.
yeah.
But
Or
let it
he
bounce.
said that all in one word, no.
Yeah.
Meaning
That's
don't
right.
touch it.
Sometimes your
Leave it,
partner
let it
will say,
bounce,
leave
no.
it bounce. But the main thing is, if your partner sees it's not going to be worth playing. Whoa, Gord just smashed right into the fence on that. Okay. So that was a point that Gord just made. It's
Yep.
he would have had a chance to
6,
possibly shoot
2,
around the
2.
net and into the court, but because the referee is there, it made that shot then impossible.
Well, Gord's absolutely right, except in my opinion,
Yeah.
he had no chance on that shot.
That's I think I agree with Tom.
Side out.
But
I mean, he's absolutely right to mention that to the
Yes,
referee, because
exactly.
if his perception is that he could have got it, then
2 6
that
1.
perception becomes the reality.
absolutely. this Mike's just got that deadly strike there that
He does. Mike has
very,
got a
very hard to
effective
return
smash.
or deal with in any way. And he certainly takes advantage of any higher shot.
2-6-2.
You know he's going to want to really smash that
2-6-2.
back at you.
2-6-2 for Gord and Ruth Mary.
Oh. So,
Side out.
side out. And their balls. Oh, recovered the ball. Ear is up. Serving again. Our score is now 6-2.
6.
Two
Ira and
server
Mike
one.
are ahead. Good shot. Nice shots. We've had some amazing returns on both sides. It's very, this is a really interesting sport to get to watch. It's very entertaining.
And it's
7-2-1.
it can be intricate too in
Yes,
the
absolutely.
styles
There's great
and the
skill
power.
involved.
I always say to my students that there's 3 P's in the pickleball alphabet. One is power, the other is
2-1.
Patience.
patience, and the third one is
Being pretty.
No.
It was only a triumph.
Second server.
power, patience, and placement.
Okay, places.
Okay, so if
we're
you think
gonna
about
take
where
that.
you're going to place the ball,
8.
or
2,
have
2.
the patience to do that, you can have 2 out of those 3 and you'll be a winning pickleball player. You
That's
don't have to
right.
have a power game. Although we'll see now
Absolutely
that
true.
a lot of people do use a power game. This is very, very much legit in Canada. You'll see a lot of power players. When you go south of the line and watch them, they'll do a lot more dinking than we do
Very,
up here.
very true.
Yes, they do have a power game after the dink. Once the dink, they find a little
9,
chink in the
2,
armor,
1.
then they smash it. But
Absolutely.
here, it's a lot of baseline playing here.
Oh, absolutely wonderful play.
What's happening here is
10,
that Ruth Mary
2,
and
1.
Gord are managed to place their shots
Uh-oh.
right into the wheelhouse of Mike, who is playing a power game right now.
Yeah. Mike and Ira are now looking at a lead of 10-2 over Ruth Mary and Gord. Oh, and that was one of the things. Gord just had a correction to make to the referee. You just bring it to the referee's attention and make sure that everybody is in agreement. And of course, our referees, a lot of the referees have just been trained. If there is any disagreement, the referee needs to be involved right away. You want to solve it as quickly and politely as possible.
That's correct. That's correct. And by the way, we're all volunteers here, and we have some people who are just refereeing for the
10,
first time for this
2,
tournament.
2.
Lutz just happens to be one of them, and he did a very good job when he first came on here, and he's doing a very good job now. But there are a few of the finer points that he might not have learned yet.
Of
Side
course,
out.
when Tom is teaching this
2,
course,
10,
I'm
1.
sure he feels like he's going over every point, and there's so many things that you feel that you're learning as you're going to this clinic.
Second
and
server.
I'm
It's
just going to say
amazing.
it's
There's-
hard to remember
That's
everything.
correct. That's correct. And,
You're trying your
the more
best.
people there are in the
10,
clinic, the
2.
more questions you have, and the more fine points you discuss.
Oh, good play, Rosemary.
Side out.
Okay.
10-2-1.
Oh, great shot.
11.
Mike
2.
did a
Oh,
super
the game is
shot.
over, and so is the series. We have a gold medal
Very
champion
good
in Ira and
play.
Mike Wagner and Ira Fazio. And, silver medal is our Ruth Mary Hollis and
Gord Masson.
Gord
They'll be our
Masson,
silvers.
okay? And that is from our wonderful Showdown Tournament 2017. That is our final game that you will see on Shaw Cable. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we said it was going to be an exciting game, and sure enough it was. And unfortunately, our Medicine Hat people only came out with a silver, but that's pretty darn good for a 60-plus mixed doubles championship here. Now, you're wondering, you've probably got the bug just watching this thing, so you're wondering, how do you get interested in it? Well, come on down any day between 8 and noon or so, and somebody will be on the Strathcona courts here. If not, you can Google us online and go under Medicine Hat Pickleball, and you will find us there, and there will be some contact numbers, and you can do that. I'm not here in the wintertime, and I know, Sherry, you're probably not either, but we do have some sort of winter things. Maybe you could tell them a bit
We
about that.
do. We have Hillcrest Church has made itself available so that we can play on. They've got 3 courts that are available to us. We also have courts in the schools that they have allowed us to rent from them.
Right, nighttime
and so
play,
there's
yep.
all kinds of opportunities, be it winter, spring, fall, and summer.
Right.
We're playing all year round. And another possibility is during right now this season, we can come down even 6 o'clock just about every night of the week. Someone's here
Right.
setting up the nets. We're ready to welcome any players who'd be interested in having a game or two.
Right.
And just
And the
welcome you
FLC is available too. There's
That's
courts at the
right.
FLC that you can inquire through them how to play pickleball.
Absolutely. And actually the FLC has made arrangements with our group to provide a pass that makes it a little bit more economical to play up there.
Right.
And so that's yet another very positive concession that we have
All right.
for us.
Great. And so until next year, thank you very much, Shaw Cable, for doing this for us.